So today is July 24th, I believe, maybe 25th, I don't know. I've been going for so long, all day long, all week. The days seem to have just been one long continuous day, seems like. Started off the week Sunday morning, or Sunday afternoon, going down to minister at the Southern Maryland Pre-Release Unit. Ended up meeting a gentleman there who had been in jail for 15 years, but then upon his time to be released, realized that he didn't have an address to go to. And in realizing that he did not have an address to go to, it was revealed that he had no home plan, which meant that he had to stay incarcerated until he could find some place to go. And when I let him know that this is the type of work that Hope Restored is engaged in, immediately you can see hope restored. He said that he had just gotten to the facility, and this was the first time that he had gone to a worship service. He said he normally don't go to worship services, but something told him to go to this one today, and it was at that moment that I met him. So I went back on Monday to meet him again, and ended up meeting with 6 other men in the same condition, only to be told by the chaplain that there are dozens of men in his case, like him, in the facility at the current time. And that's a problem, because in the black community we have to realize that we have a power, a collective power, that we're not using. Some call it black power, and they call it black power as a way of signaling a war cry to a group of people, if you will. But I've had dealings in the stock exchange, and I've had dealings with stockbrokers, and I've had dealings with analyzing commodities and understanding how those things are valued and based upon its power or its uniqueness and its strength to perform and to be better than other materials and commodities. Its value is increased or decreased. Gold is a commodity that fluctuates from day to day. Oil is a commodity that fluctuates from day to day. Silver, nickel, copper, brass, even cement is a commodity that fluctuates from day to day. However, there seems to be this power that doesn't fluctuate, that's been tapped into for a very, very long time, and it's called black power. And it's been tapped into and it's being utilized to fuel the furtherance of progress for other people outside of the black community. And it seems as if the black power is being used without our permission. But then when you realize what conditions we leave our men in once they become incarcerated, providing power for other facilities and other private industries, and once they are free to go and we still do not go back and get that power, we must be found guilty of allowing individuals to tap in and utilize our power with our permission. Because the moment you say that I don't have room for that individual, or the moment you say that I can't give $10, $15, or $20, or whatever you have available to to donate to the individual's release, the moment you say that, you are giving permission for that black power to be harnessed by someone who it doesn't belong to. We wonder why our men and women and children are in such disarray. We wonder why the community that we find ourselves in, or the common unity, well, no, it's the community, because there's not a common unity yet, but we wonder why the community that we find ourselves in is in such disarray. It's because we've been scattered. We've been scattered, and we've forgotten about the importance of coming together and huddling together, the strength in numbers. We have no longer identified the purpose of having strength in numbers, because we want to be a number unto ourselves. Just me. One. But the principles of the animal kingdom are playing true in our very world that we find ourselves in. Those same principles apply. When a predator gets ready to attack a herd, it just goes straight for the herd and it disperses the herd. But then there's other predators of the same nature waiting and lying in wait for the weaker animals the ones that's not so fast, the ones that may be hurt, or the smaller animals to pass by the place where they've camped out, and the moment that they pass is an ambush. They begin to pluck them off one by one. But then you have those species of animals that are smart enough to realize that when a predator is in the midst, it's time to circle around our least our most vulnerable members of the herd. They begin to put the babies in the middle. They begin to put the weak in the middle. They begin to put the olders in the middle. The ones that are able to fight off the predators, they take the outside. And over time, the predators have become wise to that. And now when you look at it in the human capacity, what has happened is they've taken our strong men and put them on basketball courts and on football fields and told them to stay within the boundaries of these of the perimeter of the basketball court and of the perimeter of the football field. And if you go out of bounds, you're out of bounds. If you go out of these boundaries, you are out of bounds, and we'll call a penalty on you. So don't go out of bounds. Stay within your limits, and we'll continue to allow you to enjoy the game that you're playing, So they have our strong men in the game that they've created for them to stay out of our business. There's a problem here. We have a problem. We have a problem because we don't know the power that we possess. We have a problem because we think that we can solve our problems on our own if we disassociate ourselves with what we see as the problem, which is each other. But we think that we have a problem with each other, but the problem really lies within yourself because you don't realize that you need each other to solve the problem that we have. It's so easy to solve the problem once you realize that you got a problem. And when you realize that you got a problem, you begin to analyze the problem. We talk about a comprehensive plan a lot. A comprehensive plan this, a comprehensive plan for that, a comprehensive plan for this, a comprehensive plan for those, a comprehensive plan to change our community. But first, in order to get a comprehensive plan for anything, you first must comprehend what you're planning for. If you can't comprehend the problem, then you can't create a comprehensive plan. And if somebody can't comprehend that they need to open the door for the man that spent 15 years in jail and now finding himself more in jail and in a jail for a longer period of time, then you haven't comprehended nothing because you haven't comprehended that what's yours is the community's. So don't write no comprehensive plan about re-entry when you've not been willing and able to open your door for somebody to enter into. If you don't allow somebody to enter in, how can you tell me how they can re-enter? First, tell me how they're going to enter. Your comprehensive plan is written on something that you can't even comprehend. But trust and believe me, there are people that have comprehended long time ago that if they separate us, if they scatter us, if they tell us that we're not united and we shouldn't depend on each other, then they have comprehended that the comprehensive plan that they need to put together has already been put together and needs to stay in place. That's what they comprehend. And what I can comprehend at this moment is that there are very few of us that understand that. And since the very few of us that understand it can't get to the masses have gotten to the ones that have continued to say that they have a comprehensive plan without comprehending that they don't need to march for justice for somebody else that can't feel justice. They need to march for somebody that needs justice right now in the community that they leaving to go march in a community that they don't belong to. That's what I comprehend. What I comprehend is that there are people of our own race that have allowed themselves to take advantage of the untogetherness of the black race and not tell the black race that in order for you to come together, you must come together and to come together first. They don't want us to come together first. They want to come to us first while we're still untogether. Telling us that the only way you can be together is if you hire me and put me out front, and I promise we'll get you the results that you need. Just march on down the road a little bit in 100-degree weather with signs printed by my friend, with water sponsored by my sponsor. with t-shirts printed by my t-shirt maker, with the design that I've copyrighted, so if anybody else make this design, they're gonna have to pay me for it. But we're gonna get justice. But when we realize that justice is his friend, we don't want to get justice. Not your way. No, you can keep that justice, buddy. The justice that we need to seek is the justice to realize that it's just us. It's just us that need to come together and solve these problems on our own. That child that you see standing on the corner, all they want to hear is that you love them. That daughter that you see standing on the corner, all she want to hear is for you to say, baby, come on inside. I got some clothes that you can wear. I got some clothes for that baby that you standing outside trying to get some money for to put some diapers on her. How much does a box of diapers cost? Somebody buy that mama a box of diapers so she can get off the corner thinking that's the only way that she can get diapers for her child. So what the daddy ain't there? It's enough daddies in the community to take over for that child, and God will bless you accordingly. But because you say they ain't my child, ooh, if that was only my child, I'll do this. If they were my children, they wouldn't act like that if they were my children. If those was my kids, I'll do this. If those are my kids, those are our kids. Those are our children. It's a shame that we feel as if we're not responsible for each other anymore. You are your brother's keeper. You are your sister's keeper. But you're so worried about you having your needs met. I can't give to that because it's all I got. I can't give to that because I ain't got enough. I can't help you because this all, well, if that's all you got, I hate to bother you then realizing that's all you got, because you have realized that you've made me realize that you are in as pitiful shape as you say that you are. I wanted to believe that you were doing kind of well, but when you revealed to me that that's all you got, I realized that you ain't got nothing either, which is a shame, because if that's all you got, you need to give it away anyway so that God can give you more. But since you think that all you got is so important that that's enough for you to survive on, God ain't gonna give you no more until you realize that you say, I give myself away, I give this away so that God can give me more. And when you give it away and God realizes that you ain't a hoarder and gonna hang on to that little bit that you got, if you're gonna hang on to that little bit that you got, why would God give you a lot? The only reason he'll give you a lot is because you've been willing to give the little bit that you had away. God is looking for people that's willing to give his stuff away. Everything that we have is God's. But when you begin to hold on to it, you ain't doing God no good. So why are you going to give you anything? So when you say that this is all I got, no wonder that's all you got, because God won't trust you to get no more because he know you ain't going to get that away either. Lord have mercy. Our children are dying by the dozens. Our fathers are being incarcerated by the masses. But you can't go check on them because you got to get your hair done. You can't go see about your brother because you got to be at the barbershop. You can't go see about your sister because you're out getting turned up. Y'all, come on now. What do we do? What do we do? It's so easy to realize that everything that we need to do has been given to us since we've been on this planet. What do we need to do? We need to remember who we are. Remember. Put it back together. Remember, when you cut your finger off, and if you get it to an emergency room doctor soon enough, quick enough, that doctor has the ability to put your finger, which is a member of your body, on. And what that doctor has essentially done was remembered your finger. as we go through life, we come across things that become familiar to us, and we say, oh, I remember that. Well, that means because you have already seen it and it's been a part of you, and you have now reattached it to yourself, which allows you to remember what you just experienced. Oh, what a difference it'll be when we remember our community. It's time for the race baiters, it's time for the race profiteers to get out of the way. The coattails that they were holding on to and riding on, they've been worn out. It's time for the new generation to come up and take up the fight. I ask children oftentimes, I said, what would piss you off? What makes you, how would you get pissed off? He said, if somebody disrespect me. I said, well, how would somebody disrespect you, sir? He said, by messing with my girl. So how old are you? I'm 16. So somebody would disrespect you by messing with your 16-year-old girlfriend that you ain't gonna even remember by the time you're 20, and you're gonna cause yourself to do something outside your character and get locked up for the next 40 years because somebody disrespected your girl. Nigga, you don't even know what no girl is. Yeah, I said nigga, because that's just what he is at that moment, a stupid person. And it's just that frustrating to me that we will seem as if that's a disrespectful act, but that same 16-year-old boy was sitting in a 10th grade classroom being taught out of a 5th grade book and think that that's totally normal and okay, but that's where they disrespect you, sir. You are being disrespected by being denied a valuable education, and you think that that's okay. You're being disrespected by being made to believe that you got to buy the latest pair of shoes that cost over $200 when all you need is a pair of shoes to not cut your foot on the concrete that you're walking back and forth on. That, sir, is being disrespected. That girl that you protecting ain't got nothing in her mind to care about you once they lock you up for protecting her because you felt like they were being disrespectful toward her. Family, we have a problem. Hope Restore was created out of this need to fill that gap for the problem that we find ourselves in. When I began to go and minister in Gary, I began to run into a lot of my friends and classmates, and they would say that it's a hopeless situation, man. It's a hopeless situation. And I too was one of the ones that said that I would never return to Gary. I promise I did, but that's smack where God put me to start this ministry. And as I began to walk and tour and ride around the city of Gary, Indiana, I realized that that's a gold mine. They have programs on TV right now where people will dive into rivers to reclaim wood that was dropped and lost over 100 years ago. And these things to us, we be like, man, I ain't going to no water to get that mess. But do you not realize that once they cut away all that stuff and once they come to a point that these things have value again, those things have more value than they had 100 years ago when they was initially cut down? Why? Because they've been weathered by the storm. Gary, Indiana is a city that's been weathered, been tried. And now is the time when they can come and harness their own power and get themselves out of their own bind if they just only realize what they have within their city limits. If you would just realize what you have within your own city limits, you will begin to harness those things, those bricks that's laying around on the ground as if they didn't cost anything to get put there. Come on, y'all. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. We ain't got money for public facilities. We ain't got money for community organizations, but we got money to house you. We got money to lock you up. We got money to fill up our gas in the police cars. I don't care if it is $5 a gallon. We're going to make sure all of our police cars are filled. We ain't got no money to pay for bus, though. We can't fill up the bus transportation, so we're not going to fill that up. But we're going to make sure that all of our police cruisers are filled with gas all day long. If you fill up the buses before you fill up the police cars, people can get to work. But oh, that's not the plan. The plan is to get them to jail, not to work. And so when we realize the plan and fail to do anything about the plan, we become a part of the plan. And being a part of the plan is not the plan that God has for us to be. We are a part of God's plan, which calls for us to be liberators, calls for us to be reconciliationists, calls for us to be peacemakers among men. But instead of making peace, we are making our peace, our P-I-E-C-E, instead of the P-E-A-C-E. Which peace are you holding? You're holding the wrong peace, sir. If I hold my peace. Yeah, but you got to realize that the peace you're holding is not the peace that God told you to hold. God told you to hold the P-E-A-C-E. But you holding your P-I-E-C-E, thinking that you're going to make a difference. Yeah, you're going to make a difference, all right, but the difference you're going to make is the difference for you. So I pray that you guys continue to pray for me and that God continues to keep me covered in this journey, on this journey, as we march forward to see hope restored in every situation that we possibly can inject hope into. And in doing so, we know that God will show up. And every time that God shows up, we can count on something being dramatically changed. And in this time, God has shown up. God bless you, God keep you, God love you. This is Pastor Jeffrey Timms, founder of Hope Restored, community intermediaries and advocates based in Silver Spring. You can visit the website at www.hoperestorednow.com for more information about who I am and what we do. And you may be wondering where I'm driving to, but I'm driving to get the lady that was arrested on July 3rd, 2013, outside of the White Oak Silver Spring Shopping Center, and I've been fighting for her release since July 3rd, and I'm finally on my way now to get her. So thank God for all things, and in all things give God thanks. I'll see you soon. God bless.